good morning, and welcome. My name is Maggie Rose Cunningham. I'm here to host Middle Earth readings for you today. It is the 15th of August, and I'm going to be looking at our week ahead through the summer. We've got a few sessions where I'm covering 2 weeks at a time, but this week I am just doing one. Apologies for those of you who are joining me live that I've come just a couple of minutes late there. My setup was not to my liking. I wished it to be to my liking, and so yes, I took that little bit of extra time to do it. As normal, I'm going to go through our planetary movements, so the movements of the planets within the runic wheel, which is my oracle of choice, and that gives us a macrocosm, a view of what is happening in the world around us, where we might get some obstacles, what opportunities might be there, how we can harness those energies. And then for those of you who are here with me live, you can share your rune of the week, and I'll give you a little bit of a reading of how that rune then works with and aligns with the energies that I've been discussing. Just a note, I think, really, for those of you who don't know, I know that the people who are here, you're all members of the Hearth Space group, which is a Facebook group. We have over 300 members now. It is lovely to have so many people here. And many of you, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. And many of you are Inner Circle members, where we do our classes, where I run classes every month. And one of those classes that we do every month is a rune reading. So we look at different readings. Some of them, last week we did do a single rune, but it was very different to the readings that I do here today. So there's a whole bank of rune readings, if you're interested in doing readings for yourself, that you can go and you can access with your Inner Circle membership. So I thought I would mention that. So let's get started. I actually wanted to start with a quote, and it is not a Northern tradition quote, but it seemed very apt. It comes from the teacher, 500 BC, I want to say he was thereabouts, Lao Tzu, who was thought to be the founder of Taoism. And he said, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And I think it's a very powerful quote, and it seems very apt at the moment with the planetary movements that we've got. We've done so Suna's chariot, the sun, has moved today out of Thurisaz, the rune of sort of subconscious mind, the primal energy, the Jotun, into Ansu's, the ordering rune of the Aesir. And often the Jotun and the Aesir are seen as being at loggerheads with each other. These two runes often are thought to refer to as well the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, the inner world and the outer world, the chaos and the order. These things come through, and we can see these two runes sometimes as having a little bit of a wrestling match. And what's happening this week is that Suna's chariot has moved into Ansu's, so we've finished with the tail end of Thurisaz, we've moved into Ansu's, but Frigg's chariot, the Roman equivalent Venus, is going to move into Thurisaz on the 18th, so in a few days' time. And so this Ansu's Thurisaz, I want to say partnership, but obviously sometimes it doesn't feel like a partnership, is there, and it's very potent for us, and it very much reflects this idea of thought and words and actions, and how we translate what is inside us out into the world, and how we respond to what is out in the world, and we create new meanings from that. And it's this cycle that Lao Tzu talks about. But I was imagining in my mind, what would happen if Lao Tzu sat down with Odin. Odin's chariot's also moving this week. We'll cover that in a moment. If he sat down with Odin and he offered Odin this quote, and Odin would undoubtedly like this quote, he would say, this makes sense. Odin is a self-made deity. He takes action. He connects with vision. Is well known as a shaman in that sense. A shamanic practitioner. Obviously, the word shaman is in Northern tradition. And he goes out and he connects with vision, and then he takes action and he creates the destiny that he sees. So he would see this. But there was a couple of pointers that he was whispering away at me to sort of say, these are important. So he said, first of all, the word watch is important. And obviously, I'm speaking this phrase in English. And when we talk about watching, that can be quite a loaded term. You know, when people say, you know, I feel watched, or watch your weight. That's a common one, isn't it? Watch your weight. It brings a sense of judgment, criticism, lack of trust, which I'm not sure is supposed to be in the original quote, but Odin was basically saying in our language the word watch can be difficult. So he was saying, let's change that to observe. Because if we move into judgment, and the Ansu's rune, here we've got our little Ansu's rune, which is, you know, ostensibly a rune of freedom and ideas and ecstasy. You know, that's what we see on its surface. But it's also a rune of ordering and structure and hierarchy and like controlling the chaos in some sense. We can move into judgment with this rune. And so he's saying, you know, we need to be able to do that with freedom. And he's reminding us of play within that, which is very important as an antidote to our sense of, I need to watch my thoughts. Oh, that's a bad thought. Well, I've got to control that. Repress the thought. You know, he's saying, no, that is not what is intended here. It's not a, you know, I become so frozen by fear because I am, you know, I'm now watching my thoughts, and then I'm seeing how they become actions, and then I'm judging myself because my habits are really bad, and my habits are going to form my character, and my character is my destiny, and it's all my fault. You know, it's like you can get into a little spiral there that it's difficult to get out of. So he's saying, let's use the word observe, let's use the word bring curiosity to, let's use the word play as well. You know, from Odin's perspective, he was saying, you know, regardless of our knowledge and our belief in whether Lao Tzu's words are true or not, we are always taking action, even if our choice is not to do anything. You know, we can think of about that as being inaction, but it is still something that will have consequences. So he's basically saying, we're doing all this all the time regardless. So don't start to dramatize, you know, like over dramatize this. Let's bring a little bit of play to that. And his chariot, which, you know, like makes sense that he's bringing this through at this time, is moving into the same day that Frigg's chariot on the 18th is moving into Thurisaz here. Odin's chariot is moving into Kinaz, which is the rune of awareness, knowledge, creativity, transformation. So he's saying, let's bring a bit of Kinaz energy to our Thurisaz Ansu's partnership, and then we are able to move forward powerfully with an ability to, you know, is at this point. So during this time, he was saying, you know, we may feel like there is a war going on between, you know, this is what I think is happening, and then it's not happening, and now I'm uncertain, and now I'm not, and the energy's feeling really all over the place, and now it's not, and I'm trying to make meaning out of this, and I almost can't keep up with what's happening. It's going so fast. And he's saying, you know, use your Kinaz energy to observe this, to bring your observing self to play. And then just say, well, what could I do? What could I do that would be different? How could I play with this? What's an action that I could take right now? Just a small action, you know, with my hands, rather than getting overwhelmed by everything that's around me. And this is how we start to form this partnership between Ansu's and Thurisaz. And Frigg is certainly inviting us into that as well. Her relationship with Thurisaz is about power, you know, the ability to. So, you know, these two sovereign deities, Frigg and Odin, with the Thurisaz energy and the Kinaz energy, combining with the sun, with Ansu's. It's a really powerful and potent combination when handled carefully. So the obstacles that you want to look for will be judgment, we've talked about, self-judgment, judgment of others, deciding this is what this means, and fear. Fear that, what if I get it wrong? What if what I thought I was doing, I'm not doing? You know, those things are the things that we want to look at. So yes, that's what I wanted to say. And then the final piece of the puzzle, which is an important planetary movement, is coming towards the end of the week. So on the 20th of August, Thor's chariot is moving into Bacano. So Bacano, the divine feminine, the spring, innovation, newness. There's a deceptively gentle quality to Bacano. It's the energy of nature itself comes through. So it often depends on what's the season, and the tenderness of the green shoots are deceptive because we know that life finds a way. So life is incredibly resilient, even though each individual's shoot, we might say, is fragile. So Bacano holds within it that fragility and that fierce, protective, tenacious, stubbornness of life at the same time, which is also quite useful if we think about this. I'm reminded of adults and children who've experienced trauma, and that children are in many ways more resilient than adults are, even though we seek to protect them. And we know that that deep woundings do occur through childhood and that we're formed through that process. But when a child is offered like safety and healing and succor and nourishment after a traumatic event, they are more able to respond and to be resilient in that moment than an adult might be. And that is a mystery within the Bacano rune as well. Now, Thor's chariot is in retrograde at the moment, so it's actually revisiting Bacano. It's already been in there. And the lesson that Thor brings with his combination of Bacano, this very sort of strong, sovereign, masculine, protective power, and Bacano, sort of fertile, also protective, earth, and Thor is the protector of the earth. So it's very powerful. And the rune speaks of the way in which when we stand alone, we are strong, but when we stand together, we are, pretty much unstoppable. And that is definitely a lesson in Bacano. There is a sense in which individually we might be fragile and frail, but together we are, fierce, is what comes through. And because Thor's chariot is in retrograde and we are revisiting this, it is definitely saying that one of the safety nets that we want to have in place is connection with our community. When we feel like, I don't know what's happening here, the world, everything that's going on in the world is really enraging me, I'm doubting myself, it's making sure that you are connected in with other people who get you, who understand you, who will support you and will say, I see you, I see you, and I see what that, for other people, they might not find this an issue, but you do, and I do. Other people might not feel this way about things, but you do, and I do. And it's not saying, we are right and they are wrong, but it's saying sometimes we need that sense of our tribe, the tribe who are there and who share the joys and the burdens of your life experience. So Thor is offering almost like a safety net there. He's saying that is important to think about. Where do we feel safe? Where can we go to feel safe? Whereas the other runes are saying, don't stay there too long. We don't want to hide in that place. We still want to participate in the world. We still want to express with our Anasu's rune. Bring that out. So, anything that you can do that is facilitating self-expression is really important at this time. It brings in Thurasas, bringing up stuff, Anasu's, expressing out into the world, Kinas, being creative. So you want to be doing that, but you also want to have your place where you feel safe as well. So any questions about that, please do post them in the chat box, but let's make a start on people's individual runes. Just a reminder that we only do readings for one rune. We got to the point where there were too many people here that are not able to do multiple rune readings via Middle Earth readings. Excuse me. You can always, if you're in the inner circle, you can book a half fire mentoring session. That's the only place where I offer these short sessions where we can do readings or unpack something that you're thinking about, or support you in a very specific way, is via the inner circle half space. So those are available to those of you who are in the inner circle. Let me see. Hello, Esther. So you've got Rado for the week. So there is very much a sense of movement. I can literally hear a drum beating as I read your rune there. I can feel the Bacano rune supporting. It's a reminder for me actually that some of our support infrastructure isn't always people. It can be place and it can be our own magical objects as well. I'm literally thinking about the relationship that I have with my drum. You know, she is to me an ally. So it's a really good reminder there to say that it's not just people that travel with us on the journey. We have spirit guides, we have home, you know, our half spirits. We have our tools as well to work with us. Anything else that's coming through, Esther, for me with Rado for you? I think it is just that possibly that sense of harnessing the energy that's available to you. So whereas the Kinaz rune is often like, oh, you know, you're manifesting something that's inside and then you bring it outside. With the Rado rune, there's a sense of look for what's already available and use that. So there's an efficiency there, an efficient use of energy, which again ties into what tools do you already have, what connections do you already have. Use those so that you'll get faster momentum than if you're trying to use the Kinaz rune alone, and you know that burns up our fuel quite quickly. Jen, you have Ansus, so that's working beautifully well with Suna's chariot in Ansus. So I would really be looking to embody that rune as much as you can, working with the breath, working with the voice. You'll notice I've done quite a bit of coughing through this session, which is often for me, it's because I'm doing readings for people and then I'm sort of feeling into the energy, and then the energy shifts, and then, you know, the voice literally shifts. So it's recognizing the throat and the lungs and speech as being intimately and deeply connected to the rest of our soul complex, to our seeing self, to our sensing self, and working on that connection. And it might be that actually doing voice work that isn't, that isn't sort of communicative in the sense of I am using words, but rather looking at the voice as being able to communicate as an instrument could be really, really helpful. Literally just imagine connecting into an emotion, you know, feeling that in your body, and then allowing the sound that resonates with that emotion to come out will be quite powerful healing work, I think, for you at the moment, Jen. So that, you know, that is what I felt. Eric says, hi Megan, everyone, how was your holiday in Iceland? It was amazing. I really should post some more about it. I know, I promised myself that I will, because it was just fabulous. I feel so rejuvenated and I learned so much, and I certainly had, you know, as can be the case, a lot of transformative work through that time. So thank you for asking, Erica. And you have Yera for the week, which again, thinking about Esther's reading, we were looking at Rado as a connector. Yera is doing the same, but it's a very different pace, and there's a very much a sense of a long-term vision here, and a sense of maybe becoming very comfortable saying, well, this is where I am now on one side of the Yera rune. This is what's present for me. This is my current reality. And then over here I have my the vision that I'm working towards, the reality that I see in the future, and very much looking at how do I honor those two things almost like each day, to give space and time to say, okay, I'm in the present moment, what is needed now, what's needed in terms of nourishment, finances comes up, connections with friends, building a network, you know, all of those types of things, like working with the runes of the moment. And then saying, and yet there's also this other future self who is almost like, I'm almost seeing was like a twin in some ways. It's so like inevitable and so clear that it's then about how do I nurture that? What am I doing there? And it's being very precise about that and saying, okay, this is when I'm nurturing the present and this is when I'm nurturing the future. And who knows, by the time you get into that future, it might be that then repeats as a pattern, and that self who you are currently moving towards then sees the next self in the future as well. And it's a sense in which, if you think about Suma and Vetra, so summer and winter, who are represented by the two arms of the Yera rune circling each other, are often seen in animosity, and yet I don't see them that way. And they're said, I believe, don't quote me on this one because I could get it wrong, but I believe that they're brothers. I'm not sure. Let's call them spiritual brothers. I don't want to quote on that one because that might not be true. But they certainly feel much more connected. They don't feel like enemies to me. And in your Yara concept, they're the same person. You know, they're the same person, even though they feel different and distinct. So it's almost that sense of embodying both, being able to embody both in the moment when you're working. One of my coaches said, she was talking about dress. Actually, she was saying, dress as the person you're going to become. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? But actually, it's really powerful. Working with the Bacano energy, the energy of the matching the external appearance to the inner transformation. So it's those sorts of things. It's playing with that as well. Oh, that's a long piece, Erica. I hope that was at least brought some useful. There was quite a lot coming through then. Marie, you've got Rado. So we've done Rado with Esther. So let's just see if anything else comes through. There's a sense of being carried, which is slightly different to Esther. Whereas with Esther, I was saying like tools, partners, allies. For you, there is a sense almost of an actual horse is the sense that I'm getting. That sensation of being carried is important. I would suggest you might do some work with the earth in that sense of actually connecting with the earth as a sustaining spirit, feeling the movement of the earth beneath and yourself being carried through that. Like the earth is carrying you and there is a natural momentum moving forwards with that. It's that real sense of with connecting almost with what we've had with Erica before, which is why often these rune readings flow from one person to the next, of an inevitability. You know, she was seeing like an inevitable future self. I'm seeing an inevitability in terms of you have set this in motion, and collective weird will carry you forward. So trust it is what it's saying. So it's working on that trust and using the earth as a symbol of that, or your connection with the earth as a symbol of that. So feeling the sense in which even when you think you're standing still, you are actually still moving through space, because the earth is carrying you, and you're moving through time again because the earth is carrying you. So feeling the earth as a steed who you have a shared understanding of where you're going. So when you aren't always, you don't always have to be like, I'm holding this, I'm holding it. The earth will do that for you as well. Chen, hello. Popping in to share, you've got Erwaz. So interesting that we were talking about the steed, which came very strongly through for Marie, and now Erwaz is the rune of the steed. Rado is more the road and riding and, the act of riding. Erwaz is the partnership between the horse and the rider. So again, there is these are all connecting very beautifully with each other. Let me just have a little feel into that with you, Chen. Oh, it's a slightly different energy, even though they're connected together. There's a there's a shadow that I can feel. It's not negative. It's not necessarily negative. It was just I was imagining, like quite nice actually, a sort of cooling shadow in this heat right now. Yeah, I can feel a sense of it. When you sort of look behind you and you think that something's moving behind you and you're looking back, what's that? And you feel that sort of flickering shadow behind you. What is that? What is that? And what I'm sensing is that just as with Erica, we were looking at almost the shadow of the future that she's connecting with and moving towards. The shadow is almost like the shadow of your past. It's like there is a wisdom that belongs to you that is trying to speak to you, and that, again, this might come back to trust, whereas with Marie it was trusting the earth. With you, Chen, I sense that it is trusting yourself, some aspect of you that is very powerful and perhaps a little bit frightening because it's so powerful, that is asking you to embrace it. Now, I don't think I'm going to get a full, this is what it is, because often that's what we need to do. We need to explore that for ourselves. But my instinct would be that it is that part that knows, that part that pulls you in a particular direction, and might do that when other people are saying, no, not that way. and that can sometimes feel a little bit scary, and it's a bit like, well, it's much easier to do that when somebody else sanctions it. And it's almost that recognition that yes, it is fine to look for sanction and blessing from other people. We were talking about that need for community and support, but there is a difference between standing up and saying, you know, I plan to do this and I'm looking for allies, I'm looking for support, you know, I need that right now, and saying, do you think this is a good idea? Because with that, there is an implication that you're not going to do it if people say, no, we don't think it's a good idea. And I think what's coming through very strongly with this idea of the partnership and the Bacano room with Thor is that there are so many human beings on this planet. Ultimately, there are going to be people who agree with you. They might just not be the people who are in your immediate circle around you. And if you stay in the immediate circle of people, you want that support, the only way you can get that is through doing things that they believe are correct, you know? And that will continue because you'll continue to stay in the circle. Whereas if you reach out and you find those people who do support what you feel and what's right for you inside, then they will support you in going in your direction rather than in their direction. But ultimately, it's not about whether you're right or wrong. It's just about who you're standing next to. I hope that makes sense, Chen. And I don't think it's you must now go and drop all of your friends and family and go and find other people. I don't think that's what it's saying at all. But it is saying, remember that your allies are out there who will support you in what you believe and what you know, rather than going, I think I know what's best for you. So I hope that is helpful for you, Chen. Lisa, you've got Kinaz harnessing that beautiful Odin's chariot in Kinaz energy. Very much this idea of what are the small actions that we can take that either are creating habits. It's a reminder that Kinaz, yes, works through physical expression. You know, it's the smith is often seen with Kinaz, or, you know, the torch lighting the way. It is a very physical rune, but that when we think about habit forming, those habits become channels through which our energy flows, which is how then our character forms. You know, it's like a mini representation of the idea of Orlog and weird, that Orlog is that which must be and weird is that which flows through it. And like, your habits become almost like that which must be because we do them without thinking about them. So it is sort of saying, what are the small things that you could do to become a more powerful shaper of your reality at this time? And, you know, Odin's there, he's got your back, is the sense that I get there. Yeah, that it doesn't need to be really big. There is a power simply in making those small steps, those small changes that are going to shift, you know, the course of the road or the stream. You know, we can think about it there, obviously, even if we make a little 1 degree shift and then we carry on moving forward, eventually we're going in a totally different place to where we were going if we were just, you know, a single degree out. So those small shifts can be very potent. Candice, you have got Hargalaz for this week, the change maker. There's an impatience there. Really, you know, do I have to wait for other people and everyone else? You know, they're seeming confused, but I know the way. I know what's needed, and I'm ready and I'm willing to go there, do that, be that. I'm really not getting a sense of, for you, Candice, of external events, which Hargalaz can often suggest, you know, external events that provide a new initiator experience. But I feel as if Hargalaz is offering itself to you and is saying, you know, embrace this and own this, that you are able to embody the Hargalaz force within your own life when you need to stand firm, to be different, to speak, you know, things that might feel uncomfortable to other people, you know, and it's owning that power is the sense that I get. It's sort of saying there's another level there. So really sort of feeling into the Hargalaz rune and claiming it as yours in some way is the sense that I'm getting. You know, there are some runes that either, because of your birth runes, obviously, they're a powerful collection of runes that we sort of are part of us in some way, but for some people they get runes that start off as initiators and then become partners. And I'm feeling as if Hargalaz is saying, what would happen if you recognized me within you? Is the question that it's asking you there. Suzanne, you have Rado as well. We've got lots of Rados moving forward there. I'm going back into habit forming for this one a little bit more, whereas we had, I'm not going to recap all of the Rado things, we've had 2 Rado things already, but I think it's not the same as Lisa's, because Lisa's there was a suggestion of like newness and shaping, but it might be about honouring those ritual actions and those habits as incredibly powerful. There's an acknowledgement again of how far I've come, the things that I do that other people actually find quite difficult, and I just do it, that I've created. There's a celebration of that, and it's saying, how can I deepen into that more? How can I use this, the rhythm that Rado offers through the day to keep that momentum going, to make things easier, to program my subconscious mind a little bit more, with whatever it is that you might need. So I don't know, the example, like drinking more water. How can I work with Rado this week to introduce some more like moments of ritual? I know that you already do things like your coasters with the runes on to sort of bless the water and things. So it's just sort of revisiting that a little bit and saying, how could Rado help me to harness that more? Marco, you have the Runyo Merc stave. So there is a sense of introspection, a need for introspection and quiet, drawing on your own inner wisdom, that space where you move into silence until you're at the point where you can feel your own voice moving through you. And it feels like, again, maybe because we've had this build up, this sort of layering through the course of the readings that I've done for people, of this sense of the path ahead and the path behind, and presence within that, there is a sense of a powerful voice that is yours, that has that is echoing backwards and forwards through time, almost like when the words you speak now are able to reach those past parts of you and are able to call out to that which you're becoming as well, and that there's then a listening for a reply within that too. It just feels very quiet in that Runyo space, almost like, I often think when I think about Runyo reversed, that it feels like Odin hanging on the world tree. But Odin hanging on the world tree is a well-known event where we can go. I often take clients and classes, people onto what I think was witnessing journeys, when we go and we witness a myth, and we see what wisdom we can gather, and everyone comes away with things that are shared but also things that are unique. But it's a public event in some ways, is the way that, although you're always ask Odin for permission before going to sort of witness his journey, there is a sense in which he's allowing it to be a teaching purpose. But I wonder whether he also undertook many such journeys that weren't intended for the consumption, weren't intended for teaching or sharing, were for him, to help him to connect even more deeply in with his personal, intimate self, who is potentially quite different from the outside, external, all father. There's each of us has an inner self as well. And I think that Odin is saying, I didn't just do it for the show. And so there's an offering there of him saying, yes, I did this too. This is something that's important. This inner journey that can sometimes happen with the Runyo. It's that deep knowledge of belonging to yourself and belonging with yourself. Whereas Runyo often connects us to kin and tribe. It's almost also saying, kin and tribe exists in here as well. Let me see. Then we have Diane with Rado Merc's Day, so our 4th Rado of the day, and it is the reversed. Interestingly, there's a sense of it. Often when I feel into Rado, I hear the drum, sort of drum. with this, I'm literally seeing a road, and then the horse and the rider are underneath the road, riding the underside of the road, and I'm hearing their. It's a different sound. I'm going to attempt to interpret that for you, Diane, because it just came through very strongly. I feel as if there is, again, when we think about the self, and we've been looking at, the future self, the past self, the inner self, the outer self, that this is suggesting that at the moment, although your rider, which you could think about as being perhaps like the physical body, the rider, is feeling perhaps quite deplete at the moment and needs the Bacchano energy and is drawing for the support and is doing all of the right things in that sense. There's also the inner self who feels much stronger to me in many ways. And obviously those two are part of the same, almost like a mirror image of each other, and there's this journeying self beneath, like traveling beneath, with a different rhythm, and it's claiming that power as part of your sustaining, connecting, like almost like mirror power as well. Almost like when the more we are wounded, the more we step onto the path of wounding. When we have worked for so long in on our spiritual journey, there is always the mirror side who gets stronger, as the journey of the other part of the self unfolds, and you keep on saying, yes, I'll keep on going into that, and you keep on saying, yes, I'll take the difficult path. And that can feel depleting over time, but it's recognizing there is a part of the self that is strengthened each time, and they are under the road. It's a sense that I get. It's quite mystical there, Diane. Sometimes it's practical, sometimes it's not. So I offer that to you and see what comes through for you there. Hannah, you have Dargaz, the stepping through. So Rado, we've got the rhythm, the moving forward. Dargaz is just like, oh, I'm done, thank you. It's a gateway. It's walking through the gateway without having knowledge of what's on the other side, but doing it anyway. Deep trust in your inner compass to say, yes, this is the way forward. And the anticipation of that as well. The anticipation of initiation, the anticipation of transformation, the anticipation of change. And again, I think that perhaps because we had Diane, we had the mirror, which was the above-below mirror, which is interesting. I've not had that with Radar before, but it was very strong. With you, I'm getting the sense of the mirror that we're standing in front of, and the reflection. And with the Dargaz mirror, our reflection is different because Dargaz is a process of change and transformation. And there's a whispering there, sort of saying the preparation that you do before you step through is important. And it's saying don't limit the potential dreaming that you can do about what this might mean, who you might become, what you might step into. Let yourself dream big. See huge rainbows, see magnificent waterfalls, see palaces and cabins, and whatever it is that makes you go, wow, that would be so amazing. And there's a part of yourself that then goes, oh, yeah. Let yourself dream really, really big, because that then creates the landscape that you will walk through when you pass through that Dargaz doorway. Don't know what the Dargaz doorway is there, Hannah. I just know that there is one. Rebecca has Thurisaz, so that's drawing on the Frigg energy. This is very much for me. Frigg stepped forward very quickly when that came in, so it's connecting with her, and she's talking about really standing in your power, claiming it, knowing it. I'm literally seeing you with a staff, with the Thurisaz power, like held in some form of something that's grasped by the staff. It's not a stone. I think it is like literally a power source. And saying you have the ability to wield that. You are able to wield that potent energy. Something similar there to Hannah about not downplaying it, not necessarily. Yeah, interesting. So I'll offer this to you, and I'll see what you make of it. So people can be sometimes afraid when they feel something powerful and the potential that a healer or a wise woman like offers for them. And what's being suggested is that that's one of the reasons why the wise woman has the staff, because otherwise they focus on the person and they go, oh, it's the person that's a bit frightening. Whereas actually when you've got the staff, they go, oh, well, it's the staff and the power, and the person becomes, oh, that's the person able to wield it. That's your power, my ability to wield it. So they slightly disconnect you from the potent energy which they're feeling all around you. How that plays out into your normal life at this point, the question of, what is your staff? How do you offer that as something where you say, my ability is the ability to channel, effectively those energies. It's not that I'm the source of those energies, even if to a certain extent you are. There's a presentation piece there. It's perhaps one of the things that we think about less when we think about objects of power, when we think about a crown or a throne or whatever it is, that it both confers that power on the person, but it also slightly separates them from it at the same time and makes it more understandable to people. And Darren has Largus. What's interesting about Thurusaz and Largus at the same time, they are runes that they're very present for me in my life, and sometimes they can really clash with each other. It's a very forceful, fiery, often masculine energy that comes through with Thurusaz, sort of the lightning. It can be quite dark. And then you've got the Largus rune, which can feel quite feminine and flowing and very clear. And when these two come together, it can feel murky. That's the way that I want to put it. But it doesn't have to be that way. Water channels lightning through it. The storm is often the lightning that comes down, and then the replenishing rain comes afterwards. And I think, Darren, that what is being offered is it's saying that desire for a sense of the purity and the healing of Largus, that sort of flowing, nurturing is slightly the wrong word, I'm not looking for, it's regenerative energy of Largus is available to you, but that which needs to be healed by it, the Thurusaz side, needs to be given space first. It's almost like, when we step forward and we go, oh, I've been hurt, quick, fix it, get into the Largus, rather than assessing like the wounds first and going, is there anything deeper? Is there any, is there a bit of thorn or something that needs to come out first? What do I need to learn from this? All of those sort of questions, we have to be present in the Thurusaz energy first, and then the Largus will come. So I suspect that that's why these two came in as close as they did to each other, was it was sort of saying, yes, that desire for Largus, for regeneration and for healing is right and powerful, but give yourself time to sit in the uncomfortable, unpleasant, this is what I'm actually feeling, this is what this actually means, assess it, express that. We were talking about expression and using the Kinaz energy. It's a bit like, let that come out. Do the roaring, do the writing, do the pounding the pavements, do whatever it is that needs to be done to really sit in the Thurusaz energy of, this is why I feel uncomfortable, this is what I do not like, this is what I am angry about, afraid about, all of those things first. This is what I'm passionate about. Do all of that, and then the Largus energy comes through, and it will come through as a purifying energy rather than as the two energies blending together in some way and almost cancelling each other out, so you don't get the potency of the experience. And when we don't get the potency of a particular experience, we go round the circle again, and life goes, da, this is another opportunity for you to learn this thing, which we don't really want. So it's bringing, we've talked about like precision a little bit in this reading today. Precision, like a little sense of like discrimination there as well. Right now I'm in the Thurisazzi part. I'm going to keep going in the Thurisazzi part until I feel that it's fully discharged itself, and then I will allow the Lagus to come through as well. It's almost it reminds me, and this is my own like personal process, and for some people this will resonate and for others it will not. Some people, they get really angry, you know, and then they cry afterwards, you know. The anger has dissipated itself, and then I cry afterwards. Some people can't show the anger, and they go straight into the crying, you know. And when they do that, they squish the anger right down inside, and they let a little bit of, you know, the Lagus mechanism becomes like a defense mechanism, because it's got to go, you know, something has to be acknowledged, you know, but it's not all coming out in that moment, and so you don't have the full expression of both. Whereas when you do the, you know, Thurisazzi anger, this is what is upsetting me, this is what I mean, and then you do the release and sort of cleansing afterwards, that's a more healthy way of doing those things. Let me see. Maggie says morning. This morning. Elaine, you have Fayu today. So we have the flowing, potent, nurturing energy of Fayu coming through. I can feel Old Humla, the primal cow, and Freya as well is there, like bedecked in gold, and it's that sense of abundance and luxury coming through. And I feel as if there is almost that Fayu is offering itself, Elaine, as almost like a talisman or an amulet. I can't remember which one is which at this point. As a protection in some way against whatever is happening outside. Fayu can sometimes feel a little bit frivolous and a little bit surface, because it does deal with the body, you know, it deals with the nurture of the body. And when life is throwing lots of stuff at us, we can focus so much on the stuff, you know, I'm in response mode, I'm doing, you know, this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this, that we don't honour the Fayu side, and we forget about self-care, and we forget about, you know, dressing ourselves nicely, we forget about doing that nurturing side. You know, and Freya very much, she's like, show up in your glam, woman, you know, bring that, because everything else is going to be easier if you're feeling good. You know, it's basically what she's saying. She's saying, you know, you can do the tasks, the difficulties, the hardness from a place where you feel miserable, or you can do them from a place where you feel good. Either option is available. The tasks are going to be the same and the process is going to be the same, but you get to choose how you show up. And so she's saying, you know, give yourself that bit of luxury, spend that little bit of extra time making yourself feel fab at the beginning of the day, eating something delicious. I've got a little gold necklace that I like to wear at the moment when I'm feeling like, oh yeah, I just want to feel like today's going to be a fabulous day. Even if I have 1,000 administrative tasks in front of me, I can choose to struggle through those. Or I can choose to love you. Come on, administrative tasks. Yes. No, so it's talking about that. It's that sort of Fayu energy of what are you going to bring to this to say, this is how I choose to feel today. Maggie, so you have got Northeast, Argus and Kiba, so I'm going to go with Northeast because we're doing our one rune. Yeah, as I said, there are opportunities if you do want to have a reading through the Half-Fire mentoring sessions if you're an Inner Circle member. So Northeast is actually quite an interesting partner rune with Fayu. It is because it's the rune of need and desire. It can be when we start to get stuck, you know. So there's a difference between somebody who, you know, let's say like I'm wearing my gold necklace and I'm feeling a bit bling and all of those things, and I'm doing my admin task from that place, yeah. And me, if I was to be like, I have to dress this way every single day, otherwise I don't feel good about myself and I can't get anything done, and people are going to be looking at me and this is going to be awful. And I've become stuck, I've become fixed, and it's no longer giving me that Fayu flow of, oh, I feel really good, I feel really nice. And what Northeast does is it says, bring some consciousness to that, because when we get stuck in things that we think are necessary to us, and we get stuck in the I need to feel, I need to feel this way, or I can't do the tasks. You know, I need to feel this way, or something bad will happen. You know, we can become very rigid. And you know, we were talking about sort of structure and habit and all of those things, going right back to Lao Tzu, and the way in which our thoughts then create, you know, action, create habit, create character, create destiny. It's those moments of realizing that when our thoughts become, in order to get any of these things achieved, I need to do A, B, C, D, and E, because they've worked for me in the past and now I've got stuck in them. We're creating a destiny that is very, where we're very constrained. And that's when North comes in, and it can feel a bit unpleasant because it goes, no, you know, I'm going to make you feel miserable and uncomfortable now. I'm going to give you a bit of a dark night of the soul. And it's not doing it because we, you know, to be mean. It's doing it because it's saying, find freedom again. You know, find freedom. Do something silly. Go back into play. You know, you were talking about play right at the beginning. Breathe into it. Breathe under it. You know, what is it that I'm actually looking for? So it's a different take on the habit forming that we were talking about with the North's rune, is to say, when does something that you introduced that worked really well, you know, and you're like, yeah, that feels great. When does that become a constraint? When does it become like a knot that's tied so tightly in your soul tapestry that it's now controlling you rather than supporting you? You know, so many themes that we've had through the course of today. If you think about the Bacano rune, about, you know, who do you choose to have in your intimate circle, and are they controlling you, are they supporting you? So this is the same. It's looking at actions. It's looking about, you know, very small, again, small actions, small habits. Are they controlling you, or are they supporting you in what you want to do, is what's coming through there. So I hope that that is helpful to you there, Maggie. What else have we got? I want to make sure that I haven't missed everybody. Unfortunately, Facebook has got a new thing where it just scrolls back up to the beginning. So I have to scroll back down carefully and make sure that I haven't missed anybody. Yes, I think we're fine. So Esther says, thank you. Sally Ann says, I was 60 on Thursday. Oh, a big one. So Sally Ann, you haven't been already, have you? So no, that is your rune of the day. Lovely rune. So perfect as a reminder of all that you are and all that you will become. This acknowledgement of the strength within. You know, I was talking to Rebecca about the staff and holding the staff. And there is a sense in which, again, perhaps in that inner space, that there are times when we stand out in the public arena, you know, where we don't have our supporters around us and we don't have our staff to hand, or our drum to hand, or, you know, those things that like make us feel good, and we do that. We collect our paraphernalia, you know, around us in order to help us to achieve our mission in the world. And then we sometimes have moments like with Marco that I was talking about, or moments where we need to be in community and we need to use that Bacano room. And I think there is here, it's inviting you into that space. You know, birthdays can feel quite external in some ways, and people are all, you know, becomes about like the presence, and the people say, yay, that's fantastic, that's wonderful, you know, all of this is happening. And it's actually saying, yeah, the ritual, engaging in a personal ritual of celebration, and of using this time as a moment to recognize, in the outside world, I walk with the staff. In the inside world, you know, the staff walks with me. The staff is me. The staff is part of what I have become and what I have achieved. There is a stillness in there, different to Marco, where it's a sort of almost like a waiting, inviting in. This moment for you is more of a recognition of everything that you've already gathered in. And there's a claiming your wholeness piece that comes through very strongly there. An important sense of saying, you know, I am complete, I am whole, I am ready. in this moment that will stand you in really good stead and be very powerful for you at this time. Beautiful. Let me see. Again, I'm just scrolling through. There we go. So Jen says, thank you, I will dive into answers. Erica says, thank you very much. I also don't see summer, winter as opposites, the same with present and future self. Good. Candice says, very helpful. Definitely look to see Harglass within the self and what it can teach you. Suzanne says, lots of deep magic. Yes, there is lots of deep magic with the readings. As above, so below, as within, so without. There's a lot of that. And I think it's because of the Ansus Thurusas partnership. Diane says, thank you, Maggie. Mystical and confusing. Yeah, I think this is one of the ones where it's actually almost like engaging with that idea that there is a, incredibly like powerful part of you traveling, like beneath, is probably more important than trying to analyze it too much, and perhaps almost feeling into, you've got the rhythm of the heart, but there is another rhythm as well that is also yours, almost like a sort of signature, like a soul signature rhythm that's coming through. Elaine says, thanks, that's great, made me smile, brightest blessings. Thank you, wonderful. So we have completed Middle Earth readings for this week. Wishing you much insight, healing, powerful presence, lots of connecting with yourself, drawing in, that which is yours, and yes, have a wonderful week ahead. Sally Ann says, Monday start my week off so magically and mystically. Thank you. Well, I love it too. I would not choose to do anything else with my Monday other than occasionally go on holiday with my family, which does tend to happen in August. Right, love and blessings to all of you.